VPM offers the facility to run more than one queue, and this unlocks a host of different ways that job output can be managed. So whether you run one device or 5, VPM will have a solution to manage your workflow. Let's take a look at an example of this flexibility. In a typical sign shop, you may regularly print on 3 or 4 different media types. In VPM, I can set up additional queues for the different medias I have. So in the Manage Queues window, I'm going to select Add. Now I'm going to add an additional queue for an existing printer, in this case my Versacam. So the port settings are going to be identical. Remember, I only have one Versacam in my shop. I'm simply setting up multiple queues for one device, so the settings here will be the same as they were originally. Now in this first instance, I'm going to set up a queue to handle all of the jobs I want to print onto banner material. So I'm going to select a print mode suited to this type of media. I can now enter the media width and add any other details such as margins. Okay, and now on to the nesting setup. To get the most from productivity, I'm going to set this queue to auto nest so that each job that arrives in VPM will be positioned on the media in the most efficient way possible. It's also possible here to set a maximum page length for each nest. You may feel you don't want to handle jobs over a certain length, so you can set a limit here. Once this limit has been reached, a new page will automatically be started. Okay, so I'm going to leave the scheduling on hold. And I have now created a complete new queue dedicated to managing prints on my stock banner media. I can also name this queue accordingly, so let's call it Banner. To show you the effectiveness of this feature, I'm going to go ahead and create a couple of extra queues in the same way for the other media types I commonly use. Okay, so take a look at VPM now. I have 3 queues in place, one for banner material, one for backlit film, and the other for my regular calendar vinyl. All 3 have been set up to auto nest. So now let's jump to SignLab and look at a typical workflow. I have on screen a job that is ready for production, so with it selected, I'm going to send it to VPM. When I do this, I have a direct choice of 3 different queues that have been set up to handle the different media types. So if this were a banner job, I would simply add it to my banner queue. I can continue to work like this with the rest of the jobs that I have to complete on this day, adding them to the relevant queue. Now remember, my queue is on stop, so no production will begin until I am ready. Also remember, we set our queues to auto nest. So now let's take a look in VPM. Now let's say for instance I've been working away sending my jobs for production. As they've arrived here, VPM has nested them for me so I can get the most from the media I am using. So now I could load the banner material onto my printer and produce all of my banner jobs in one session. Once this is complete, I could then swap out my media for the backlit film and then send all of these jobs that require production on that type of media. By setting up production queues in this way, I will save media and time. I don't have to position my jobs in a way that allows me to get the best fit because VPM will do this for me. I also do not have to constantly change from one media type to the next to complete bits and pieces of jobs. In this situation, I could have sent any number of jobs to VPM, but when it comes to output, I would simply need to spool and send 3 individual jobs to print. This kind of setup will save you valuable time and money. The functionality of multiple queues can be adopted for many different setups. You may run more than one type of device, for example a Gerber Edge and a Versacam. You could set up 1 production queue for each, or 3 production queues for each. It's really up to how you want to work. Each queue can have different properties assigned to it, so whether you are the only person in your business or one of 100 people in your business, it's possible to configure this unique program to suit your needs.